And I have my husband here with me, and he's going to speak in a second. And I am going to read the last page of the Safe Sanctuary Policy for the Texas Annual It's the Safe Sanctuary Policy under the Texas Annual Conference Administration with the United Methodist denomination in Houston, Texas. I am Catherine Moore. I grew up in the Texas Annual Conference Administration in Houston, Texas. I did not grow up in Houston, but my father was employed under the Texas Annual Conference Administration in Houston with the United Methodist denomination. My father was a sexual predator, and I was sexually abused as a child while he was employed under the Northwest Texas Annual Conference and also under the Texas Annual Conference in Houston, Texas with the United Methodist denomination. And my father was not the only clergy that was employed under the Texas Annual Conference Administration who was capable of sexually abusing a child. The Texas Annual Conference also employed Kendall Graham, who was convicted of sexual assault of a minor, and Michael Tabb, who brutally murdered his wife in Troop, Texas in the early 2000s, and Kirby John Caldwell, who was indicted for wire fraud. So I went to the bishop in 2010 about my father who sexually abused me, and their reaction was they wanted to sweep it under the rug. They did not want me to talk about it. I did experience retaliation from the Texas Annual Conference, and I also was forced to visit my kids at a United Methodist church through supervised visitation because of legal abuse and false accusations by my ex-husband, Carl Edward Anthony. And I had to visit my kids at St. Stephen's United Methodist Church through supervised visitation, which is under the Texas Annual Conference Administration, that employed my father and other sexual predators under their administration and placed them on assignment at their churches to lead their congregations within their administration. I was also sexually harassed at St. Stephen's during the supervised visitation, and there were staff at St. Stephen's who witnessed me being sexually harassed, and they did nothing about it. They called Shane. They asked him, "Why are you flirting with her?" But clearly, that was not appropriate language. What would have been appropriate is if they had addressed it and said, "You need to stop," but they did not do that. And the Domestic Relations Office also did not stop it. I was also sexually harassed by an employee from the Domestic Relations Office. His name is Jorge. I like to call him Pornhay or Jorge, WHORJAY. I think that's much more appropriate. And the Texas Annual Conference did absolutely nothing about it. They knew that they had not been honest with the Domestic Relations Office about their history of employing clergy who were capable of sexually assaulting children. And I was also kicked out of the supervised visitation as a form of retaliation for exposing the history of the Texas Annual Conference employing child predators, and also exposing the fact that I had been sexually harassed within the supervised visitation. And one of those visitations was at St. Stephen's United Methodist Church and also at South Main Baptist Church. So I'm going to read the last page of the Safe Sanctuary Policy, and then I'm going to introduce my husband All reports of inappropriate behavior involving protected persons are taken seriously and will be investigated if the investigation substantiates a complaint. Immediate corrective action designed to stop the misconduct and prevent its reoccurrence will be taken, up to and including dismissal of the offending person. Nothing is done about sexual assault or sexual harassment within the Texas Annual Conference administration. I know this because I am a survivor of sexual assault. And if anything had been done, I would not be sitting here today talking about it and reading their policies and sharing my experience growing up within the Texas Annual Conference and what I had to endure and the retaliation that I experienced from them. Media response. The Conference Safe Sanctuary Cabinet representative shall inform the bishop of all investigations or allegations of abuse. If investigations or allegations of abuse come to the attention of the media, a response shall come from a spokesperson in the conference communications office or as designated by the bishop. Refer all inquiries to that spokesperson. Do not give out any information. Simply state all inquiries will be answered by our conference spokesperson. And I'm going to cover this, their media response at a later date. I'm going to go over that again because I have more to say about that. In fact, the Texas Annual Conference usually in the past have controlled the narrative when the media has been involved regarding any of their clergy breaking the law. They have usually controlled the narrative, even with the murder of Marla Tabb. This time, they're not controlling the narrative. Oversight and amendments to this policy. It shall be the responsibility of the Center for Connectional Resources to have oversight of this policy on behalf of the Texas Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. This includes, but is not limited to, the following: appointing and training a conference safe sanctuary staff representative, maintaining a conference safe sanctuary committee composed of conference staff, laity, and clergy to review the policies annually and make recommendations as to substantive changes to the annual conference. Editorial changes that do not change the intent of the policy may be made without the approval of the annual conference. Submit the Conference Finance Administration Committee a proposed annual budget or background check. And I also wanted to say that, regarding the apology that they wrote, the half-assed apology that they wrote and read at annual conference to clergy, when clergy are the majority who've been accused of abuse, that was not read to the media. They've never made a statement to the media to suggest, hey, look, we've made some mistakes. We've made some poor judgment calls. And what we are working on now is a path forward to resolve this situation. And so with that, I'm going to include my husband because there have been multiple false accusations about my mental health and what kind of person I am. In general, most of the time, I am very introverted. I am not a big talker unless I really know somebody. I am very talkative about this because I am knowledgeable about it. The majority of the time, I am more the quiet observer. And my husband is the talker more than I am. And I wanted to give him an opportunity to give his opinions and a little bit about how we met and what our life is like today and what it is like to live with me, knowing, having the awareness of the trauma that I have been through. And here he is. This is my husband, Boyce Moore. And he is a truck driver. And he is a foot taller than me. He is my gentle giant. And he towers over me. What would you like
to say? As far as how we met like a lot of people did. We used an app and came and had our first date right here in Crosby, where we currently live now. We talked, we ate. It was a cold night because it was in December. And instead of letting her walk home, I did the gentlemanly thing and I offered her a ride home in my truck and took her home. And it just started going from there. It was slow at first, which is normal. But she was open and honest with me about everything. Something I value. And she had that value.
Did I tell you about all of this? Everything I've spoke about the first night, pretty much.
Yes.
General summary.
Very open. Never hid it from me what she had gone through her past. A lot of people might say, well, why didn't that scare you off? Or why didn't I don't judge people on their past. Your past is done. It's over with. It cannot be undone. You can't go back and change it. You never will be able to go back and change it. I'm not going to judge the person I just met and slap her down or slap him down or slap anyone down because they've had trauma or something go wrong in their past. We've all had that. Me, you, her, anyone. I judge people from the point I meet them and the type of person I get to know. Are they open? Are they honest? Are they deceitful? She's none of those. She's not deceitful. She has no justification to lie. She's, as far as I know, and I truly believe this, she's never been dishonest with me. She's never tried to hide the fact of what she went through with me. And I absolutely adore her for that.
How do you feel about me talking about the Texas conference and my history with them?
I am 100% on board and supportive of it.
Talking about what I went through with my family.
I have absolutely no problem with it. It's a healing tool in a way. It offers a way to explain a situation that you were put through, not by your choice. This was not something you chose. It was something that was thrust upon you. We don't always get to choose our family. That's the unfortunate truth about every human being on this planet. Some of us, we get lucky. Some people, in my situation, I didn't have like just a evil, sadistic family. I had members of my family that I have no use for anymore and will not have a use for. In your situation, you were just dealt the hand of a bad family in a bad situation that you had no control over. As far as people saying her mental health, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her mental health. She is like any other human being. She gets upset. She can get emotional. She can get angry. She can get stressed, anxiety. We all get that. She knows what she is doing and how to handle those situations, like all of us should. I'm trying to think of the right word to put here.
Have you seen me triggered at times?
Yes.
Panicked.
I have. There's things that have, because of your PTSD, that are triggers. And that's normal. That's of anybody with PTSD of any kind. Whether it's a soldier, you, doctors, police officers, firefighters, whatever. Everybody has their own triggers. I have mine. As a truck driver, I can be the first to tell you, to an extent, truck drivers do suffer a form of PTSD. We don't always explain it out or understand it because we know we're doing something that can kill us. Especially me. I deal with an extremely flammable fuel. I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm hauling around 3,500 gallons of this stuff. And I know somebody out there makes a ignorant mistake near me and causes an accident. I know I can be killed easily. I understand that. And it's triggering for me. When people cut me off, it triggers me. It makes me uneasy. It can, and that's normal for me. That's just being part of being a trucker. Is we don't like it because we know we can't stop our vehicles fast. We know we can't swerve and dodge in and out of traffic like a sports car can. Our trucks aren't engineered for that. They're engineered to haul heavy loads at slow speeds. That's what they're built for. Excuse me 1 second, people.
He has also met our sons, and he will tell you a little bit about that. What has been your observation about our sons when they have been over here? In fact, Carl allowed our sons to come over and stay overnight without supervision.
Yes, he did.
They were alone with me overnight without supervision over a year ago on my birthday.
As far as Alex, you can tell he's autistic. He has his own way of doing things, and I'm okay with that. That's just him being him. He's being normal for him. He's not overtly outgoing, and I understand why. I don't judge him for that, nor do I hold it against him. That's just him being who he is. Kevin, he is definitely outgoing, loving, very caring young man. Loves his mom.
They don't get to talk to me when they want. They don't get to see me.
No, they don't. And that's not right. Parent alienation is wrong. I don't care who's doing it. Kids need parents. I will stand behind that 100% because I've been on the wrong end of only having one because my dad passed away when I was only 6. I'm 51 now, so you can do the math. To a young boy, especially a 6-year-old, that's traumatic when you lose your dad. I don't care what people tell me. It could have been, it was traumatic. That was my dad. He's my best friend. It hurt. It was weird for me. I didn't understand. I'm a 6-year-old. You're not going to understand stuff like that. It's just not happening. But he's a free spirit. I'll give him that. That young man is a free spirit. And that's nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing for him to have. He favors his mom and his attitude and his certain outward spirit things that he does. He's definitely not introverted like his mom at all. He's definitely the extrovert.
What type of behavior did you witness? Have you heard on the phone and have you witnessed from their father?
The biggest one is his seemingly wanting to alienate those boys from you, not wanting you to be mom. There's times I've heard them be mopey, like they're upset, but they don't want to say anything. I can't state for a fact because I wasn't in their presence when I heard these things. I can only say based off of what I heard, that they seem, especially Kevin, he misses you. You can hear it in his voice sometimes that he misses you and wants to spend time with you. Of course, when one parent tries to alienate the other, it doesn't hurt the parents so much as it hurts the children more. Children, there's a reason children have two parents. Every child, all of us, we have two parents for a reason. Each parent brings something to the table when it comes to raising that child. It's two different forms. Mm-hmm. That's what helped mold children into the future. Every parent's going to be different, so I can't speak on what one parent over this parent over that. There's no way to do it. I just can't. I don't have that knowledge.
What have you witnessed whenever I've been around the boys?
You dote on them. You love on them. You are willing to do things with them, take them places, go spend time with them. You want to be their mom. You want to be in their lives, guiding them, giving them knowledge, making sure they grow up to be productive young men. And in your eyes, it's whatever it takes to give them whatever they need.
What behavior did you witness from Alex when we would go out, like when we were at the Lifetime Fitness?
He isolated. He didn't want to be around the other people at the pool that we were in. He went over to a hot tub by himself and just completely isolated. I don't know why. I'm not a doctor. It was a little, I wouldn't say it was disturbing, but it was something I would take with a large grain of caution.
Do you hear Alex on the phone calls? Do you hear?
No. It's
so
like he's...
I'm asking this because people hear from my perspective. And I understand people haven't taken me serious, but now I have a witness.
No, Alex is rarely on the phone. There are times where he will get on there, and there are times where he can be outgoing.
And what is he usually doing when I call?
From when you ask Kevin, he's usually in his room on his computer.
Are there talks? Is there any discussion? Does Alex say anything about having friends?
I've never heard him say it, so I can't answer as if
but
he
you
does
hear
or not.
Kevin talk about.
Yeah, Kevin has friends.
Right.
He has his friends
There's
come over. He goes over to their homes. They come over to
discussion
his.
of Alex learning how to drive, and he's a junior in high school.
I've offered to teach him if he wanted to learn. He'd go to a school, get the basics, and then I could teach him more advanced stuff. As a truck driver, we are taught a lot of skills that your average driver is never taught, especially considering the beast we drive. But I don't know if that's Alex's choice or if he's unsure about being around other people. I can't speak to it because unfortunately, we're not around him enough to where we can feel it out and learn about it.
What is your opinion on what I have shared about the Texas conference and how they have handled the sexual misconduct?
That's a grade A failure on their part. They have failed on so many levels of the word. It's not even funny. They could have first off, when I've listened to you talk about their policies, and then they just turn around and absolutely betray those policies. What's the point of having the policy to begin with? It's a piece of paper at that point. You can use it for toilet paper. That's about all it's good for. If you're going to have a policy like that, it's either you strictly enforce it 100% of the time, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, or you don't have it. Mm-hmm. If you're going to sit there and tell your churches in your conference that if one of their clergy does something bad, well, that's on you. That's throwing some of the church and the clergy under the bus instead of being willing to step up and say, no, we're stepping in, something is wrong here. You're basically hoping that they don't do the wrong thing. That's not a good way to. I don't care how big a business gets or how big of some administration gets. You have to be willing to take the bad and the ugly with all the good that can come with it. There are going to be times I'm going to put it, crap's going to hit the fan. I'm trying not to cuss. It's going to splatter all over the place, and you got one or two choices. You can leave it there till it starts smelling real bad, or you can get the gloves on and clean it up. Just one or the other.
What ways have you witnessed on a daily basis as far as my health and sleep, how I've been affected by the stress of all of this?
Your sleep patterns are variable. I don't know any other word to put it as, but they're variable. There's times where you seem to sleep fine through the night, and then there are times you struggle to sleep. As far as your health, it's affected you. You see, there are days you're full of piss and vinegar, and then the next day you're tired. You just woke up and you're already tired. Mm-hmm. I've seen you become emotional from it, which is understandable. It upsets you, and can be understood about the things that you've had to deal with and what you're still dealing with and should not be dealing with. This should not be happening, but yet it seems to be. Mentally, yeah, I've seen you stress. I've seen you get anxiety get up.
What do you think about what is your opinion on, because a lot of it you've heard on the phone, the stress that is going on, the stress and the abuse that is going on within the home of Carl and his mother and the boys. And hearing Kevin, because you've heard, he are present for the conversations most of the time. So you've also heard Kevin talk about Alex telling him repeatedly he wanted him to die a slow and painful death.
I was on the phone in a multi-person call when Kevin told you that. Not the first time I've heard it, believe it or not. In my situation, it was my sister told me that multiple times. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't care who you are. When somebody tells you they wish you were dead, that is a crap feeling afterwards. And for a 10-year-old to hear that, that's not something a 10-year-old should ever hear, ever. I don't care what he's done or how he made you mad. That is something you never, brother or not, you don't say that to somebody. That can be so damaging to a person's mentality because it instills so many different emotions, fear being the biggest. You can trigger somebody and put terror in them because now they don't know. I can't read minds. You can't read minds. They don't know what you're going to do. They don't know if it makes them question their own safety, and that should be something everyone should be able to feel is safety. If you're in your home, you should feel safe. But to be told that,
we have that now.
Yeah,
but there was a time when we didn't.
No, neither one of us did. We both lived in a situation where we were both unsafe,
and so now my sons live in a situation where they feel unsafe because there is a history of emotional abuse and physical abuse.
Yeah, because I've heard their grandmother explode violently over the phone at you. Mm-hmm. Instead of talking like a normal human being. Just
Carl, my ex-husband, has exploded violently over the phone and has sent me harassing text messages.
Yes, he has.
That's all I have for tonight.
One thing I will like to say, she asked me to do this. Yes. She did not tell me what to say. What I said was my opinion and from my experiences with her. So I don't want anyone saying, well, you told him what. No, she did not tell me what to say. I wouldn't have done this if she had.
I don't tell him what to do.
Well, sometimes you do, but that's in different,
No,
not
no,
in this situation. This
yeah.
situation, everything out of my mouth was of my own accord and my own choosing to say. Not a script, not pre-planned. All she did was ask me, would I do this? And I told her, yes, I would. For those who may still question her mental health, just stop questioning it. There's nothing wrong with her. I can safely say this woman right here has a big heart. She can be very kind. She can show tons of empathy. She's just gotten a raw deal from too many people for too long. And now she's trying to finish overcoming it. And she's doing a lot of it just through sheer will. And that's incredible. So commend her for that. And don't beat her down because she's doing this. She's just doing what she feels needs to be done.
Thank you.
Later.